Shop smart, shop S-Mart.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of New Book Who Dis. I'm your host, DeathMetalHero, and with me is Justin K. Sweet, a.k.a. Agent Zero. What's going on, man? How you?
Oh, I'm doing great. That was awesome, that intro, man. It got me pumped, got me hyped up. Let's
yes,
do
this. that's what I like, man. It's supposed to get people jazzed about the comic that we're about to talk about. You know, get you up and out of your seat, for lack of a better term. But yeah, man. Welcome. This is actually the first time we've met. I saw you on Jason's stream the other day, and I'm glad that you reached out, dude. I don't normally do shows on Fridays, but I know that your campaign is winding down in a little while, so I wanted to make sure I got a chance to have you on before the campaign ended.
Yeah, it's winding down on Indiegogo, but it's going to be cranking up pretty soon as a kind of like a dual. It's going to be running on Fund My Comic now that
yes.
Launched. So
Luke Stone's my dude. Love that guy. He is sorry, my microphone stand is being a little bit obnoxious today. It's just deciding it's not going to function properly. Anyway. But yeah, Luke Stone's my dude. Had him on Wednesday. That was actually another special edition because we were going to do one on Monday night, but poor dude's been burning the candle at both ends, so he kind of just zonked out in his chair, and so I rescheduled it so that I could actually get him on and we could talk about the Hybrids campaign and Fund My Comic. We actually ran a little long just because we were talking about Fund My Comic. So I'm stoked that you're going to be taking Chrome Dog over there, man. The site's great.
I mean, full disclosure, like I was originally going to launch on there, and then there were the delays, and then there were the delays, and I'm like, okay, February 3rd, I'm launching with Bancroft. I need to have a platform to put it on. So I was like, well, it just seemed only natural to throw it on Indiegogo. And so far, no shadow banning. So, that's a plus,
that's awesome, man.
At the same time,
congratulations on skirting that, man.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing. I decided, now that Fund My Comic is up, I decided I was going to do the full, 30, and then I did another 30. And then I was going to go in demand and, have some little promo things happening with that stuff. And then, keeping things in the campaign and then not offering them during the in demand. But now I'm like, okay, I'll just opt out or not opt in to in demand. So we're going, going over to Fund My Comic.
Man, you're better off going over to Fund My Comic anyway. Make the money that you can on Indiegogo. And then, go over to Fund My Comic. I mean, that smaller platform fee is awesome.
Yeah.
And plus all the different features that they have over there, like the moving thumbnails, just like the customization options. And I love the feel of the site. It looks it has its own unique feel and style, but it also feels very familiar. You know what I mean? Like if you've been on Indiegogo, then you kind of know what you're getting into, but it has it has the extra things on top that just make it, So I'm looking forward to seeing all the different campaigns that hop on that one. Let's go ahead and say hi to the chat. What's up, Flying Feline Skull? Beautiful. Thank you for coming to hang out. And let's see. She says, hello, Justin. Welcome. We got some person. What's going on with some person? Thanks for coming to hang out. And we got a Mad Ruth dropping a link into chat. What's up, dude?
Hey,
Thank
Craig.
you, sir, for
How's
dropping that link.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming by.
Mad Ruth has been on this show. We've come to talk about Soul Tech. I mean, he's another one that's on Fund My Comic as well.
And not only that, he's also joined the Arrow Comics team. So he's with us with Arrow. So
boom. That's right. You're part of the Arrow squad as well. That's great, man.
Yes.
Listen, I like this whole like indie publisher thing, like just kind of like all these different books coming together under a single publisher and being able to get them out to a bunch of different people all at once. I mean, that's great, man. You know, I'm really impressed with the stuff that Luke Stone is looking to do over there, man. It's gonna be absolutely amazing once he gets all the different features he wants to put in there. But I mean, it already looks great. So yeah. So let's see, what kind of comics have you been reading? Like, what did you grow up reading? I guess is what I'm getting at. Like, what was your first comic?
So my first comic, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, was Rust. It was an old indie title that was handed to me by a Shriner Circus clown here in Nashville.
I can honestly say I have never heard that before.
Yeah. So what it is? So what they, to those of you who may not know, the Shriners, they have a hospital, and then they do these. They put on a circus that's for charity every year, or at least they did. I don't know if they've done it for some time now, but they used to. And and one of the things that they did in the early to mid 80s was they would hand the clowns before the show would greet kids at the door, and they just hand us stacks of comics, and they're just like, here you go. And so they would sign them right with their clown names and stuff. And so one of them, like, I think I also got like a Batman and maybe a Superman and a Spider-Man at the time. Nice. But yeah, there was, I just distinctly remember the Rust comic because the art style was so different in that book. It all looked like it was painted, and I don't know if they use oil paints or acrylics, but and so panel by panel, it was unlike anything else I'd seen in like a Spider-Man, and I mean, at the time I was also into Calvin and Hobbes. Nice. Every time my dad would have the newspaper, I'd take it from him and like read the funnies. And so
I'm right there with you, dude. I love Calvin and Hobbes.
That was my earliest experience with comics. And then when I was about 8, between 8 and 10, my uncle at the time, he introduced me to Dungeons and Dragons. Yes. I know that's early, but
nice. But, it's never too early to start learning how to role play.
Yeah,
like that's awesome.
And it was second edition D&D, and it was World of Greyhawk. And so,
cool. Okay,
yeah. And so he basically just like gave me the books. And so he gave me that book, and then he gave me the Dungeon Master Guide or whatever. And so I just read them because I didn't have anyone to really play with at the time. He gave me a couple of minis or whatever. And so it was just kind of some of his excess, I guess, that he was getting rid of. And I remember he was into Vampirella, which I've never really been into. I don't go with the cheesecake stuff, but I guess
man, I love Vampirella.
She's great. In Lady Death, I see the shirt. She's cool too. But
I like
growing up,
girls.
And I mean, hey, I'm more power to you, man. But I guess I always felt embarrassed with that much skin either on my wall or in my backpack. It's like
right. No, I can understand that. But
I will say, I was always a sucker for Betsy Braddock. Freaking Psylocke. Like, we're talking like Jim Lee Psylocke. That was my jam. She was my girl. But of course, Batman always. I think Batman was one of the superheroes that I really like dug early on. Him and Spider-Man, and then also whatever X-Men was doing kind of later on. But the one hero that really resonated with me is this guy right here, freaking Frank Castle.
The Punisher, yes, sir.
The Punisher, and the thing is, one of the motivating factors for me has been how he's been. I've seen him depicted in these comics, and especially
Are you talking about recently?
Run. Yes. Well, and not only that, like I like John Bernthal and all. When I watched that season of Punisher, I mean, I like what they were doing, and I like how they were telling the story. But for me, when it comes to actually like getting to the root like of the character, I felt like Thomas Jane really nailed it. And even though it took place in Tampa, Florida, and they were going, the story took them kind of off the coast to some like island or whatever where his family was killed and all that stuff. Like they definitely took a lot of artistic liberties. That the way they told that story though, and also when I say they, I'm mainly talking about Jonathan Hensley, because I think he not only did he direct it, but I'm pretty sure he had a hand in the screenplay, and he lifted directly from
that Garth Ennis run.
Welcome Back, Frank. Welcome Back, Frank. Which that, oh my gosh, like I discovered that right as I was in the Army. That was when it was first popping off, and I actually had my own money, and so I was going in. I never was one to with a pull list. I was always one that wanted to just come in, and when the comics were fresh, I'd buy them. Right. And so I went in there and I was keeping up monthly as those were coming out. And man, what he and Steve Dillon were, I mean, they were just nailing it. And then with Jimmy Palmiotti on the colors, I mean, everything was just was great. And that whole story arc just really, I loved it. That's kind of what got me. I got this this tattoo around that time, and then I also on my near my cap I've got the Hearts of Darkness tattoo. So you got Ghost Rider, Punisher, and Wolverine team up.
Ghost Rider, Punisher, and Wolverine. Oh man, I love that book. John Romita Jr. Such a classic, man. Oh yes. It's on my shelf over here.
I tried to read the follow up. I'm not that. I couldn't get into it. That was the Dark Design or something like that.
I don't think I ever saw that. I don't think I ever read that.
Yeah, it's a sequel, and it's I don't know, it's not as good.
Sometimes sequels just don't measure up. I mean, there was something magic about that original one. I mean, John Romita Jr. was like kind of just coming into his own and like really developing his own distinctive style. I mean, his storytelling's always been great, but I mean, he's just gotten leaps and bounds better over the years. But yeah, he was really starting to come into his own, at least, in my opinion. Man, I'm right there with you. I love those books. The original Punisher War Journal, where Punisher and Wolverine crossover, they clash in Africa, the African Adventure or Africa Saga or whatever it is. But yeah, great stuff, man. What did you think of Punisher Warzone with Ray Stevenson?
Loved it. Loved it from start to finish. Like, it got a little much at some points, but hey, I mean that's fine. Like, and I like that they brought in soap, the whole soap thing, and especially that and then that Budiansky character, who's played by the same actor who was, I mean, at the time I noticed him in a few movies. He was in Resident Evil. And he played the squad leader in that movie. He also played in another 00 agent in the Pierce Brosnan run of the James Bond movies. He was in let's see. I think he was in Tomorrow Never Dies, and also The World Is Not Enough.
Nice.
And so he kind of was like this counterpart, and that actor, he nailed that role. And I think that there's this one scene in Warzone where they're at the house, and they're at this house of this woman and her son, and and the criminals are kind of like sitting on it or whatever, and Frank walks in, and you got the coked up kid, and he shoots him in the face, and he's like, God damn it, Frank Castle, I'm gonna get you,
I think I actually liked Stevenson as Punisher better than Thomas Jane. Now, Thomas Jane's a fantastic actor, and he that movie's great. It's just the way he looks Like he's a little too pretty to be Frank Castle, in my opinion. Ray Stevenson looks like he's been beat to shit a lot. You know, he's got that. He looks like that New York Italian, like taking a few too many hits to the face because he's been fighting New York. You know what I mean?
So I'll say this. Okay. The first part is that where he breaks his nose and then he gets in the car and he takes the pencil and, I love that.
Fucking
like Lexi
hardcore,
Alexander,
man.
she when she directed that, like she was not kidding, right?
And she was like 7 or 8 months pregnant when she directed that movie.
No.
Yeah,
really?
she was full of child when she was directing that movie, and she still made a badass flick. That chick is awesome, man. She's good. Well, I like what she does.
Well, she wow, that
right.
Yeah, well, he pulled off.
I have it on DVD, and I watched the bonus features. It's like, oh yeah, Lexi was however many months pregnant. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? On this really tight filming schedule, and she's pregnant? Good Lord, hats off, lady. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail you, dude.
No, it's fine. Well, he nails the look that Tim Bradstreet was doing with those covers, man. With that slick back hair and all that. Like, he definitely nailed the look. But I'll tell you who I wanted to see be the Punisher, or who actually like looked like the Punisher in the movie, in the original Punisher with Dolph Lundgren.
Oh yeah.
If you remember, there was the bad guy who's kind of sort of soliciting his help in a way against the other criminals or whatnot.
Right.
That guy had that Italian slick back hair look. Like he could have actually pulled it off, even though that movie was actually pulled its source material off of the Jim Lee stuff.
Yeah.
It's still, and that his I don't know, do you remember much about that movie?
I mean, I remember it vaguely. I remember the drunk dude that made the rhymes all the time, and then the Punisher had no skull anywhere on him except for like the little skull on the hilt of his knife.
The knife.
Not great. Not great. And, I don't understand why he was constantly, like, kneeling in front of an altar in the sewer all the time, being dowered Dolph Lundgren. Just like, what is happening here? You kind of look like the Punisher. I mean, you got the build for it, obviously, but, again, he was a little too pretty to be Frank, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just like the look that he had. But, wasn't Lou Gossett Jr. in that movie as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he played the detective, the hard-boiled detective that was after him,
Yeah. I remember them throwing down with like the Yakuza at the end of that flick.
Yep. Yeah, that was the thing. Like he was I think part of it was there was this mafiosa guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, what's going on? The mafiosa guy was, the Yakuza was coming in on his turf too, and so he kind of it was almost like Frank was kind of helping him there, and because they had a mutual enemy. But he also had his little like psychotic episodes, which was a little like I felt like I don't know. I felt like they made him look a little too cuckoo for what Frank is all about. Frank is not that much of a psychotic character.
He's not. He's not an unhinged killer.
He is not. He gets unhinged at the death of his family, but then his resolve is set really fast, and he's like, "Okay, I'm a soldier."
That's because exactly, because he's a soldier. He's like, "All right,
I'm gonna," and then he does everything surgical. He accounts for every variable before he goes on his next mission. I mean, everything is mission driven, and he makes sure that the innocents are not going to be harmed when he plants his explosives. He's meticulous about the details.
Yeah, and he vets everything. He vets every single kill. He knows exactly who he's going after, and he knows exactly why.
Yes.
Yep.
And he makes no mistakes about it. And if you want a psycho, go read Badger, okay?
Yeah, Badger's a fucking lunatic. Written by Mike Barron.
He's a loony, but that's great. Yeah. Oh yeah. And and Mike Barron, both of these voices have lived in his head. I mean, I get it, right? Yep. But
exactly.
But even he can draw that distinction,
Yeah.
Yes. 100%. I've got the classic Punisher little collected volume over here, and I revisit it from time to time because I love that black and white.
Dude, Mike is great.
Stuff.
Mike Barron, like he really knows how to write a damn good yard. Like him and Chuck Dixon, honestly, I believe are responsible for really creating the Punisher as we know him today. Because whatever the dude's name is that came up with the Punisher in Spider-Man or whatever, he had him as a lunatic psycho killer. You know, he was a mad dog. He wasn't any kind of like anti-hero. Mike Barron and Chuck Dixon really kind of shaped the mythos that, you know, gave Frank this tragic backstory and really kind of molded him into this awesome, you know, force for good. I mean, he may not necessarily be the cleanest, you know, guy. He may not necessarily be an angel, but he's not like a psycho killer.
No.
Yeah.
No, and you know, I think that's one of the things I really liked about the Welcome Back Frank thing, because you have those, you know, that team of psycho killers who were vigilantes in their own right, but each one of them were just that. And when he lays each one of them bare there at the end, it just kind of was like, you know, you missed it by that much, and that's why I got to kill all of you.
Yep.
So.
That Welcome Back Frank
you're talking
storyline.
Yeah. Was it Jerry Conway? I think is who we're talking
Jerry
about.
Conway.
Him and Stan Lee. I guess they threw in together for that. For the
something
Spider-Man.
like that for that Spider-Man issue. Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, like Feline says here with the skull on your shoulder, that the real Punisher.
Yeah.
You know, the ridiculous redesign of the skull. Oh, and he doesn't use guns anymore. He ain't the Punisher then. He's some just generic ninja now. Go on with you. I don't want it. I don't want it.
Well, and that's, you know, eventually I think I am gonna bring an analog to the Punisher into my universe. So Chrome Dog's gonna actually encounter. He's gonna encounter and probably, you know, maybe have a bone or two to pick with him. I don't know,
right?
Him or her. I haven't decided. I may make it a chick. She might be one of my bad girls.
Nice, dude.
We'll just have to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Introduce the character and see how it goes. You know how these things go in comic books. You have two characters that meet for the first time, and of course they butt heads, and then afterwards, like, all right, mutual respect, and I see what you're doing, you know. Yeah. So
here's a funny story with that, and this is a good little introduction into like my thought process as a writer.
Yeah, man.
So I had one of those instances where two characters kind of came to they kind of clashed in some scenes as I was writing for this one character. So, you know, I haven't revealed who he is, and eventually, you know, he'll come out, I'm sure. I just haven't, you know, but as I was writing this character, he's very much like you could say a Daredevil or Iron Fist kind of street level martial artist kind of character. And so I had this other character that was in the back of my mind named Chrome Dog, and I wasn't quite sure, like I hadn't fully fleshed him out just yet. And so I'm writing the script, and so as I'm doing this, I'm starting to see this Chrome Dog character develop as this heavy, who is, you know, he's metal, very much like Colossus, but he has the look of a werewolf that he can't change at all. So he's just
kind of stuck like that, so kind of like the Thing.
He's stuck. Exactly. He's stuck in his person. Okay, in his shell, if you will, but he has abilities. Yeah. And while he's using his abilities to hack in, because he's on a heist, and he's hacking into this, he's helping a heist, you know, proceed, if you will.
Right.
Think of it. Have you seen the original Mission Impossible? So
from way back in the day. Are you talking about the first one with Tom Cruise? Or are you talking about
the first movie with? Yeah, the first movie with Tom Cruise.
Oh yeah,
Emilio
long
Estevez.
Time ago.
Yeah, Emilio Yeah, Emilio Estevez's character, where he's the one that's got, you know, kind of like behind the scenes. He's got the, you know, laptop in front of him. He's nested in this, you know, in this area that's, you know, got, you know, wires and stuff around him. You know, he's or he's on an elevator or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. And so, well, you know, Chrome Dog is doing just that, but he's at an elevator. He's found a terminal and he's kind of doing this hacking thing, right? So as he's hacking, here comes the hero, kind of comes up to him and is giving him a hard time because he knows that Chrome Dog is just a work for hire kind of guy, and he's doing bad things, you know, or doing this thing with bad people. And he's like, hey, come join us and, you know, work for us. And Chrome Dog just kind of looks over him and is like, you know, you need to tell your boss to pay, come off that pay because these guys are paying me pretty darn good for what I'm doing. And so it kind of becomes, and he's kind of taunting him a little bit. And so that character, you know, he kind of comes in and winds up trying to knock him out. You know, and, I mean, here's a big metal werewolf getting hit by this martial artist, and it's not going well for him at all. But he has his own
doesn't work out
powers,
well for
right?
the soft-fleshed martial artist.
Well, but that's just it, right? So he has his own powers, and so there is, like, he rings his bell. Okay, so he rings Chrome Dog's bell, but Chrome Dog's like, I ain't got time for this. And so there's this exchange, and he winds up knocking this character, you know, through a you could say a concrete pylon, and then down to into an awaiting dumpster below. And it's like, okay, I'm done with that fool. And then, like, when that happened, in my imagination, as I'm writing this thing, I'm like, I want to know who this Chrome Dog character is. I don't, you know, right now, I don't care who this other guy is. Right. I want to know what is this? Who is he? And why is he doing this? And so that pretty much like put me on the path to discovering who Chrome Dog is, and here we are.
That's awesome. So just through the voyage of discovery, you came across Chrome Dog, and now you've got a full blown book, dude. That is awesome. I love that story. You know, just a natural progression of bringing this character to life, man. That is cool. Yeah. And I think that might be the first time I've actually heard that doing one of these shows, because I always like to find out like the origins of the character, like the impetus of, like what led to the creation of, where did what inspired. And I do believe that's the first time I've heard, well, you know, I was writing this story and he just kind of popped up and he kicked this dude's ass. And I was like, I'm curious about this guy. That's rad, man. I love it.
That's exactly, yeah.
That's awesome.
And his character design was just like, I kind of had an idea of what I wanted him to look like. And so around that time, you know, it's Luke, he gets back to me because Luke Stone, he gets back to me because his rate seemed pretty reasonable to do 360 turnarounds, full color, you know, everything.
Yeah, looks great, man. He's super talented.
Yeah, and so we get to work on this other character first, who you know, we're probably going to have to revisit him. But then we get to work on Chrome Dog, and I'm just and the next thing you know, here he is.
That is awesome, dude. I love that story. That is fantastic. Let's go ahead and take a look at your trailer.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
Well, all I was going to say is, if you want to see, if you folks out there want to see the like what Chrome Dog started as and then what he wound up being, in the 10-page ashcan, that PDF that is available on this campaign, you can click the link and download it, and you can read the ashcan. And then at the end, there's a bonus feature to kind of show the behind the scenes of what Luke and I were going back and forth and trying to develop his look. So
that's awesome. So people can get a little taste of the story before they buy. Try before you buy. I like it, man.
Yeah, it's the first 10 pages of the 32-page book. I basically, my goal is to get this story in front of as many people as possible as soon as possible, because I got a feeling that if they get if they get to page 10, they're going to want to, keep on turning and figure out how this whole thing, comes to an end in the first.
Hear the rest of the story. Keep reading. Heck yeah, man. I mean, I think that shows that you've got confidence in your story and the character, and that people are gonna dig it. And I agree with Feline. That's cool. Yeah. That's really cool. But yeah, let's take a look at this trailer, man.
Yeah.
Ooh. Nice. I love it with the mascot head.
Yeah.
Ha! Very cool, man. Yeah, Feline thought it was pretty cool with the mascot head as well. That's rad, man. So I was reading up on it, and apparently that's what he does. He works as a mascot at a park, right? Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, that's his day job. So that's kind of you know how Bruce Wayne is Batman's alter ego, because and Superman, you got Clark Kent is his alter ego. They pretend to be these other characters. Well, so what Chrome Dog does is his day job is working at Cerulean Park as Wally the Wolf.
Nice.
And the reason the wolf is that color is because the cartoon animators of his in the universe there they adapted this cartoon character based on the Golden Prairie Wolf. Now, I just want to real quick. This is not Earth. There's 2 moons. It's a planet called Ringgold. It's a whole thing, and we're definitely going to get into. We're gonna, in the coming books, in the coming issues, we're gonna explore Epsilon City, which is one of the sectors of Ringgold. So yeah.
That's cool. So I'm
building a world.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a world similar to ours, but different, and got a little sci-fi element in there. I mean, obviously you got big green guy here, and then Chrome Dog. Who made your trailer, by the way?
That was me.
Nice.
I made that one, and I know it's not as dynamic as others that I've seen, but I kind of I'm enjoying the process of the art, and I wanted to do something different. And the beat, I love that song. And so as the beat would change, I tried to change get the inks, and then with the colors with the beat as you go along in the song. So,
very cool, man. Yeah, I think it was a good trailer. It gets the point across. You get to see the black and white artwork, and then the color artwork. Who's doing your interior artwork?
So the interiors are Luke Stone.
Oh,
he's
I thought
interiors.
The artwork looked familiar. That's great, man.
Yeah, that's Luke.
It's this looks familiar, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That's great, man. I love seeing Luke get more art, get more jobs, get more freelance stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This is awesome. So is he doing the colors as well?
So Patrick Gamma, who is his colorist for hybrids, is doing colors, and then these letters here are Luke's letters, but I've actually been able to snag Eric Weathers for letters for the book. So he is the letters maestro of CG. He that really is for sure. Is. I mean, and really hell of an artist and writer in his own right. Had him on for What's in the Box when I got my my Battle Brick Road, and that was a really fun show. Eric is a good dude. I really enjoy talking to him. So yeah, this cracks me up. The mascot uniform, it's very very cute and cartoony. And then, going along, he ends up beating the crap out of these dudes while wearing the mascot head. That's awesome. Well, it's stuck. It's stuck. You can't get it off. The dialogue. So if you scroll up, you'll see where as he sheds it, he says, it's right here. I think, no, it's not. Let's see. Scroll down a little more. like, yeah. Where is it? He said, oh yeah, it's right there. The blue. That's him saying, he's like, I knew I should have had Jimmy fix the latch on this headpiece.
Oh no, because it got spun around. You can't see.
Yeah, exactly. That's yeah. So that. This is a character named Phenom. He's going to be one of the heavies. That's going to be one of Chrome Dog's arch nemesis. The other is featured on the LIIIIVVVEEE cover, and that's Seether. You could say that they're like the Bebop and Rocksteady of what I'm doing here, but they're
nice, dude. I like it.
They're it's different.
Yeah,
they team up.
You're making your own world, man.
Yeah. It's almost more like the Blob and Pyro through some of their misadventures. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I gotcha.
Yeah.
By the way, that Aaron LIIIVVVEEE cover is fantastic.
Yeah.
What a great cover, man.
Yeah.
I mean, Aaron's work is awesome.
Yeah, it is, and I'm so glad that he said yes. But yeah, that's Seether. He has he can shapeshift from kind of a human form into that, and what that is he can superheat elements in his skin, where he can also like generate steam and can do some real damage that way, but he can also in short bursts he can move the heat to a certain part of his body, like maybe his tail, and he can actually melt metal. It takes a lot out of him to do it, but he's a force to be reckoned with. And this here depicts the kind of like the climactic scene of this book. So I had to make it the variant cover.
Oh heck yeah! That's a hell of a variant cover to have, man.
When he said yeah.
I mean, I love the body language of both of them, like the posture and this poses, just so good. And obviously Feline agrees. He says yes, it is badass.
Yeah,
awesome.
And the other thing is that it's going to be unique to the crowdfunding campaigns. So once we go to print, I'm only going to print, a certain amount, and then that's it. Like they will not be reprinted. And so, yeah.
I mean, listen, that's kind of the thing about these crowdfunding campaigns, man. They're a unique opportunity to get one of a kind books. They're limited print runs, and anybody that's been collecting comics for any amount of time knows that the smaller the print run, the more likely it is going to be collectible, especially if it becomes popular. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I mean, limited print runs and like the prestige format that we're doing over here. That I think that's awesome, man. EVS was talking about on his stream tonight. He was talking about how the Ides of March cover, the 24-hour cover, that was the one I actually ordered, and I'm looking forward to getting that.
Nice.
But somebody was like, "Hey, are you gonna put those up on your eBay store?" And he's like, "Nope, sorry, man, I can't do it." I made a commitment to my backers that backed this 24-hour comic. You had 24 hours to grab it, and if you didn't get it, I'm sorry, man. I can't do that to the people that were actually there to grab it. And I even said in the chat, dude, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
He never saw it, but he's got fucking almost 800, 900 people watching. So,
yeah, of course.
Sure. But I definitely have to say I appreciate that. If you make something available for a certain amount of time, and the people that actually jump in there and get it, and then that's it. Limited print runs. I mean, John Malin does it all the time. He doesn't go in demand. Yeah. You either get it when it's live or you miss it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, hey, what's up, David? Good to see you, Genuine Comics.
How's it going,
man?
Dave?
Welcome.
He's a busy man today. He's been in several shows today. Yeah, he was on earlier with Luke. Luke was drawing American Bliss with him.
Nice.
And they were back and forth and whatnot. Had him on a show. It's great.
I've been cleaning my old. I just moved, So I've been cleaning my old place, and like, you know, you put shelves up on the walls using the wall anchors and whatnot. And you take the wall anchors out, and it's got this gigantic hole in the wall. So I've been going through and patching all of those fucking things. So yeah, that's what I've been doing today. So I kind of missed a lot of stuff going on today. But man, this 6 a.m. Sticker is great. I love Six's work. Oh, it's gonna be holofoil too.
Yes, yeah, I'm gonna do it in holofoil. Yeah,
I dig it, man. I dig it.
Yeah.
All right, and stone cover metal bookmark. That's the next stretch goal, huh? Yeah, that's going to be the first stretch goal, because right now, you know, we've not reached the first stretch goal. Oh, okay, gotcha.
We're inching there. That's another thing I want to highlight. Whenever I do launch over on Fund My Comic, I'm doing them concurrently.
Yeah.
Hopefully Indiegogo will forgive me that, but I'm going to do them concurrently.
Hey, man, Billy Tucci does it all the time.
Yeah. Well, that campaign, I'm going to set it on Fund My Comic. It'll be set to $500. And once I reach that goal, that is actually whatever that campaign makes, I'm going to add the two amounts together, and then that's going to the stretch goals are going to be cross-platform. So
awesome.
If folks can get me to 500 over there, then we'll unlock this one, and then we'll move on to the next stretch goal.
I think Luke Stone was doing the same thing with the hybrids, RPG campaign, and I think that's what he did is doing as well. Yeah. And I mean, it makes sense. You know, it's essentially the same thing, just on two different platforms. And honestly, I have been pushing people to go over to Fund My Comic. I would rather have people give Luke Stone money to have this crowdfunding website than I would Indiegogo. You know, Indiegogo 100%. Doesn't seem to care one way or the other whether they shadow ban us or not, or even if they're not necessarily shadow banning, but they've got a problem in their algorithm that is messing over, you know, all kinds of different campaigns. You know, not just CG, from what I understand.
Yeah, well, and not just that. The other day, I when I popped in on Indiegogo on the landing page, it was suggesting to me down in the feed, it was suggesting me Joe Frankenstein on one side, and then the other side was some campaign that had ended and couldn't even, you know, like I couldn't back it even if I wanted to. And I'm like, why is this even being recommended to me? It's ridiculous. It is. It's totally ridiculous. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't understand that either. And that's honestly what leads me to stuff like that. Is honestly what leads me to believe that it's a bug in their software. It's a bug in their coding. Yeah. And they make so much money off of their tech stuff that they don't care. They don't care to fix it. Yeah. Either that, or they don't have the staff to fix it, and they don't want to hire anybody. Either way, Either way, yeah, I'm kind of with Mad Ruth here. You know, F Indiegogo. Yeah. They unceremoniously just kicked him off of there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They messed him over big time. Yeah. So
all because some very loud crybaby jackass that literally had no reason whatsoever to do what he did. But I mean, hey, it's the internet. There's plenty of butt hurt to go
wheel
around.
Gets the grease, as they say. Squeaky wheel gets the grease a lot of times.
Yeah,
it just does.
Squeaky wheel should be told to shut the fuck up sometimes.
Exactly.
I mean, that's just my opinion, but you know, like, damn, it's the internet. Really, you can't find something else to bitch about? Like, go play in traffic. Goddamn. Yeah. So, dude, this looks awesome. Let's take a look at the bundles you got here. So, featured tier is the Arrow Comics bundle. Let's put this awesome page up right here. So featured, and let's see. So Chrome Dog cover A, all the physical stretch goals. The Fool #1, Hero Bot 0 #2, Revolt #2, Soul Tack, by our boy Mad Ruth, and then Hybrids #2 by Luke Stone. Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah,
and that's only $40.
That Soul Tack #1 is a breakout floppy. He probably doesn't want me to call it a floppy. I think he calls it a periodical.
Well, yeah, it's a single issue.
I forget how he says it. Yeah, single issue. It's breaking out, the full graphic novel into smaller issues, and so that'll be number 1 on that.
That's I honestly think that's the way a lot of people should do that. I mean, Brian Pulido, whenever he does Lady Death, he'll release the full 48-page prestige format with all the physical stretch goals, all the tchotchkes, all the goodies and stuff like that. Yeah. And then once he fulfills that campaign, he will break that up into 2 separate issues, and he'll put that in previews. That way he gets the people that are paying attention online and are used to doing this crowdfunding thing. Right. And he's still able to sell it to the people that, I worked in a comic shop up until August of last year. I worked in a comic shop for the past 7 years. So almost a decade spent in a comic shop. And, there are people that literally don't know anything about crowdfunding online. They're not going to go find out about it. They're not going to look into it because they go to their comic shop. They do 3 pages of handwritten previews orders. They bring it to the comic shop, and the comic shop orders their stuff. This way, you get the people that are into the tchotchkes and the prestige format and the expensive, the premium version, right? And then you can get the people that just want the floppies, as you said. And he says floppy is cool. Yeah.
Okay.
Yo, Brian, what's going on, brother? Good to see you.
Hey, what's up?
Thanks for coming to hang out,
Cisco
man.
Gorilla in the house.
Yeah.
But yeah,
he's doing good stuff with that book too.
I'm doing kind of the opposite in a way. I'm gonna do issue 1, issue 2, and issue 3 each in their own time. Now, my goal, what I'd love to see here, is to fund enough on this first issue, to be able to pay for the second issue, so I don't have to crowdfund it. I can just what I mean? If I do crowdfund, it'll just be for it will just be for the for the print run or whatever, right? Or just to
nothing
just to
wrong
get
with
it out
that,
there.
man.
And then because I've got the arc. The arc is 3 issues at 32 pages apiece. So
that was one of my next questions. Nice, dude. Okay.
Yeah, I've got issue number 2 and issue 3 fully plotted. Script for issue number 1 is done. It just needs a little bit more loving, and we've got the 10 pages in the can, as we see here. That's another thing I borrowed from I almost said Grant Morrison. That's not right. Graham Nolan.
Graham Nolan, I borrowed from people, but Graham Nolan's
obviously,
fantastic,
right?
Man.
But I borrowed from his playbook on Matacumba Key, the Ghost of Matacumba Key, where he posted 10 pages of the book right on his campaign, and I'm like, well, I've already got the 10-page ash can. Why not leave links up there for people to download the PDF, and then I'll just put the 10 pages up here for people to preview it on the campaign. So there you go.
I think it's a great idea, man. Give people a taste of the book, and part of the reason why I started doing my What's in the Box is because when this whole crowdfunding thing started, people were a little leery about backing books, and I wanted to show, hey, this person has fulfilled not only fulfilled the campaign, but you can see the quality of it. You know what I mean? I actually started doing that show before I started doing this one. Now this show is about like showing people, the cool stuff that's coming out. This is something you could take a chance on. This is something you can try, because new IPs. I mean, as we can see in just about every media now, it's all about sequels. It's all about prequels and sequels, and basically milking established IP for all they're worth, and then just it becomes derivative. It becomes awful. So, trying to get people to take a chance on a new IP can sometimes be really, really difficult. And like Brian is saying here, offering a free sample of the book also shows that you have absolute confidence in your product. 100%, man. I completely agree, Brian.
I mean, and that's the thing. Like initially I was gonna try to do a crowdfunding campaign for just the ash can, but the more I thought about it, I was like, this doesn't signal that I am confident in what I'm doing, right?
Right.
It kind of signals like, oh, well, if people are interested, da 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 da. So I thought, you know what? I mean, I already want to go full bore into this thing. I've got the script done. I don't know why I don't just say, okay, it's going to be 32 pages and let's just go. Here's the first 10 for free.
Yeah, I mean,
let's go.
What is it they say? Go big or go home. You know,
exactly. That took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, man, you might as well just do it. You know, and
yeah,
you got free sample up there.
Go
first taste is free.
Yeah,
you know, and you're gonna want more.
Yeah, exactly. As long as I'm doing my job, people are gonna get to that 10th page and they're gonna be like, okay, I got to know what happens next. You know, and that's
yes.
I take my role as writer very seriously in that. But yeah, the Arrow bundle number 2 has you get all those comics for the one price at $40, and that's the feature tier.
Great.
That's mainly because Randy Zimmerman, of course, our publisher there at Arrow, the Fool and Hero Bot Zero number 2, as well as Revolt are his. Those are his babies, so to speak. And so, but he's made these available for each one of us creators that are associated with Arrow to add we share the love, as it were, as we go along. And so this is number 2.
Getting a whole bunch of comics, like a nice stack of comics to read through.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like going to the comic shop and just like, you know what? That looks cool. That looks cool. That looks cool. That looks cool. Let's get all of these and let's go check this out. Yeah. I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then further down in the campaign when we get there is the bundle number 1, which a lot of people would recognize from the Rift Riders campaign. So
awesome,
the same exact one,
man.
So.
Luke is just all over the place. That he is working hard, man, getting all kinds of content out there. You know, between hybrids and Fund My Comic and Rift Riders and the RPG that he's doing. Yeah, proud of that dude. Yeah. All right, so you got $5 for the digital. That's great. You know, international shipping is an absolute fucking nightmare right now. So having a digital thing that people outside of the country can get.
And that's a for now kind of thing. I think once we actually get it published, then I have zero problem holding. Buying up, extra issues from Randy and just holding on to them to be able to ship out to international customers where it's more affordable overall. So, I mean, it's just what I can't do it. I mean, I'm doing it associated with this campaign, but it is rather cost prohibitive for folks. So, and I fully understand that. So I'm very sensitive to that after the campaign is done.
Well, and there are people that are trying to help with the distribution. I mean, I know Hockey is trying to help, be a distributor over in the land down under, so that we can actually get some books out to our Aussie brethren and sister. And they seem to get screwed over the worst of anybody. I mean, although I had somebody come in when I was talking to Luke from Sweden, saying that it's $30 plus like $10 VAT tax or something. I mean, that's just it's nuts.
And it's real bad down in South America. A lot of the countries down there, depending on the item and what it is. I mean, granted, books probably not that much, but when it comes to like electronics and stuff, forget it.
Yeah,
they charge like 100%. So you're basically when you live down there and you buy something from the States. They're basically charging you a second time for you to import it. It is crazy.
So stupid. And it's just because everybody's really got to get their pocket lined. Everybody wants their palm greased.
That's it.
Makes me sick.
Yeah.
And RJ is killing it right now. Critical Blast. And, God bless him for doing that work and figuring it out and, taking on the logistics of getting this shit, fulfilled and shipped out to people. So he's doing good, man. He's doing real good. All right, so $15 for the first shift Luke Stone cover. So that's just the regular cover by Luke Stone.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, that's the standard trade dress cover. It's gonna, that's gonna be, on the available in the Arrow catalog and everything going forward. So
awesome. And then second shift, Aaron. Was that just the black and white version when you put the picture up, or is the cover actually going to be black and white?
Right. So no. So what it is
colors to be revealed.
Yeah. Right.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, but to hide. Well, the thing is, once someone backs a perk, you can't edit it at all. whether the photo or even the text, right?
Yeah.
So, live and learn. I didn't know that at the time. So as I'm building out the campaign over on Fund My Comic, people will be able to see exactly what I'm doing here. But as we see under the here on the left-hand side where Lepresti's beautiful cover is, at the bottom, I want to highlight that the Lepresti cover is going to be a virgin cover. So
nice.
I've decided not to put any kind of I don't want to put any kind of logos or anything on it. We want to see the entire we want to see it in all its glory.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, even though Aaron, being the consummate professional that he is, definitely left room for the trade dress because, he knows what he's doing. He's been doing this for a long time. But yeah, I'm glad that it's going to be a virgin cover, man. That way we get to see the whole thing in all of its glory. Who did the colors for this one? I don't know if you told me.
That was Aaron. Aaron did everything on that cover,
no kidding.
From start to finish.
Damn.
Yeah, start to finish. And so what you see here
awesome.
in my mock-up, in the mock-up on the right, that is actually his thumbnail.
Welcome.
Hey, Badass Turner. It's Badass Turner.
Badass Turner.
He's got a book.
Welcome, sir.
Yeah, he's got a book coming up.
Yeah.
Vigilante's Creed.
Vigilante's Creed. Nice.
Yeah.
So many talented creators creating new comics. I fucking love it, man. Healthy, thriving indie comic scene over here, man. Dig it.
Yeah, for sure. But
so what were you saying?
Just his, that was just his thumbnail sketch, and so
okay.
So I've actually I've got every stage of that process, and I'm planning to make another. As I learn After Effects, I plan on making a new trailer to kind of showcase how we actually got here with this cover, to kind of show what the other options were to me, and then like what we went with, and the pencils, and then the inks, and then of course the final color. So I
mean that cover really did turn out great, man. That was a good get for the campaign,
Yes. And I'm glad that he said yes, and he was able to carve off enough time from Wraith of God, which I'm an insta back from here until eternity on that one, no doubt. I got the first one and I absolutely love it.
Nice.
But yeah, $15 is a really good deal to get that Lepresti cover. Just so you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, folks, some people who've been with us since the first 30. So there was a black and white artist edition that was available, but once the first 30 were over, I went ahead and pulled it.
There you go, man.
So it's only available in the big bundle of this one, and we'll get there.
Oh, okay, all right. So it's still available, but only in the big bundle. I mean, that's cool too, man.
Yep.
Hey, thank you, Mad Ruth. I appreciate you dropping the link for that, man.
Yeah, appreciate that.
And Arrow Comics bundle number 1. So this is the one you were talking about earlier. And that's all the number ones. Look at that. Hybrids number 1, Herobot 0. Only death can save us. Nice, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I haven't seen that name in a while.
Yeah,
Volt, Calico, Paragon.
Fantastic.
Sin Killer, Rift Riders. Man, that's a heck of a bundle right there.
Yeah. And it also it pairs really good with the second one, because this one you're not getting double comics. Like this one, on purpose, it doesn't have Chrome Dog or the stretch goals or any of that with it. So that way you can just grab this, grab the other, and you're gonna have what's that, 10 comics? Actually, no, I'm sorry,
8 and 6. I mean, you're gonna have 14, like 14 comics. 14.
You're gonna have 14 comics. I mean, for $90. I mean, come on.
that's pretty great, man.
Yeah.
And then Midnight Shift Pack. What is this?
So this is gonna be the Lepresti virgin cover, and then also a metal print of it.
Oh,
so
nice.
People can hang it on their wall or whatnot, and it's gonna be roughly the same size as the comic. I decided not to go oversized with them.
That'll make shipping it
helps
easier.
With shipping, and helps with shipping. Some people like to keep the comics. I think Dojo the other night told me that he appreciated that, so because he generally keeps them with the comics when he puts them in his long boxes.
I do too. I do too.
Yeah.
I mean, if the stretch goals will fit in a bag and board, I'll literally just put them in a bag and board behind the other comic.
Yeah.
If it's oversized stuff, I actually have a kind of a long flat box that I have put like posters and stuff in, and like other tchotchkes that wouldn't necessarily fit or would be too bulky to go into a bag and board. But yeah, I'm right there with Dojo. Yep.
And that's, of course, if you don't put it on your wall, like I will, especially this one, because like I
mean that deserves to be up on the wall.
I can't wait for this one because like. So here's just a brief story. I saw originally I wanted Chrome Dog to have a chromium cover, but when I was as I was considering it, I was watching Ethan have so much trouble trying to get chromium for whatever reason.
Because nobody prints them anymore, man.
Yeah, so I thought, I don't want to cause any problems. So when I found out that Luke did the metal prints for the Rift Riders campaign, I thought, well, I'll just do a metal print. So at least we get to see, Scratch, aka the Chrome Dog. That's his name, by the way, Scratch. So Peter Parker,
that's what he goes by.
Scratch is Chrome Dog.
Yeah.
That's what he's known by. Kind of like Patch, was it Wolverine?
Yeah, Wolverine's alter ego was Patch. Yeah,
he was Patch,
they did that to differentiate him from the Wolverine that was in the X-Men comics that were supposedly like more family friendly. But Wolverine's adventures solo were, John Byrne originally wanted it to be a lot darker. I mean, obviously the 4-issue miniseries by Claremont and Miller is pretty dark and pretty adult. But yeah, when they took it into like the regular series, that's why they put him in all black, and he kind of had that kind of veil over his eyes or whatever. They wanted to differentiate the Wolverines, as it were. So they gave him an eye patch and they sent him a Madripoor, and he was Patch.
Yeah.
Cool. So it's a nod to that.
Yeah, it is. And so, the thing about this cover is it shows the two moons. You've got Lux and Proximo, and it's this establishing shot that just lets everyone see that this is not Earth, and that this is but this is a place it feels like Earth because the time, and we didn't really get into that much, but the time that Scratches or Chrome Dog is existing in this comic. It feels like the 1980s. Like they have phone booths everywhere. Cell phones aren't yet ubiquitous, or of course, it remains to be seen if they're even going to become ubiquitous. Certain authority figures may have a cell phone or whatnot, but the general populace, they're still using landlines. And so part of his power set, he can actually, as long as he's within range, he can like his shell, his onboard systems. Are able to hack and manipulate and make phone calls and everything else, as long as he's near say a phone booth or telephone line and whatnot.
Is this kind of what he's seeing here? Because I noticed like the kind of network looking type stuff here and like the different colors.
Yeah, that's his vision, or that's that's kind of a little bit of how he experiences the world, or his suit, more perfectly. So his systems, what they do is they will collect data on the different people, kind of like I've heard it compared to Person of Interest, the television show that was on CBS for a long time.
Oh yeah, I remember the name. I don't know if I ever watched it, but yeah.
Yeah, so it's like in that show they use different cameras from all over the world that are able to pick up on people's whether it's their biometrics having to do with facial recognition, the gait, like the way that they walk. Those kinds of things can be tells as to what a person is, and so this system is so advanced that it's able to differentiate each one, and what it does is it kind of color codes them as it collates the data, and he uses it. It just stores it in kind of in his memory banks, just in case he needs it for tracking purposes later. And what's being alluded to in this ash can is that there's been a rash of runaways, like different teenage runaways. We hear just a little snippet at the beginning with a radio voice and all. But there's also been some kidnappings and here and there. And so part of his thing is while he's out here doing the Wally the Wolf gig, he's kind of trying to keep on watch for unsavory types. And so he just happens to be at the right place at the right time to kind of see
jump into action.
This mom, pretty much as much as he can. Of course, he gets a little distracted, but he has an onboard virtual intelligence named Sally, and she's not a friendly person at all. She's like, imagine Siri. Siri if Siri was a nag in your ear all the time.
If Siri was a whip cracker.
But inside your head, and you can do is silence her. You can silence her for a certain amount of time, but then she comes back on. And so yeah.
Now I'm good.
Trouble.
I got enough voices in my head already. Thanks. I don't need another one.
Well, that's kind of Sally is definitely something that he's got to work out and work with in this first story arc. So anyway,
that's cool, man. Cool. I'm digging the setup. I'm digging the world building. Now tell me about the all-nighter bundle. This is the big bundle you were talking about earlier, right? So this features all three versions of the comic. So you get the cover A with there's my whip cracker.
Luke Stone's cover. Oh wait, and then you get the black and white line art edition. Which it's not going to have any lettering. It's just going to show all the lines, pretty much what we saw in the trailer, but it's all 32 pages.
Yeah.
And then of course the cover B Lepresti, the Virgin cover version of the comic, and then both metal prints, and then plus the physical stretch goals. So
that's great.
You get it all for one price at $100. So that's kind of I will say that this would be the featured tier if Randy hadn't gotten to me first.
Right. I mean, that's a great tier. I mean, to get the whole kit and caboodle, basically.
Yep.
Yep. But yeah,
and it's also the only way you're gonna be able to get the art book. So the black and white line art edition.
The Chrome Dog line. Whoops.
Yeah.
Messing with me, computer. Oh, now I got to scroll all the way back down. What? All right, here we go.
That's Indiegogo for you.
It's It's the only way you're going to be able to get the Chrome Dog 1 line art black and white variant. Yeah, man.
Yep.
That's awesome. A hell of a bundle. Dude, this looks like a lot of fun. So the first arc is 3 issues. You said each issue is 32 pages. How many issues do you see this going?
I would love to take it to 300 and then beyond. I want it to. I mean, I talk about it in other spaces. This is my Spawn, or this is my Spider-Man, or my Savage Dragon. Like my only regret is that I'm not. While I know I can draw, I just I haven't dedicated myself enough to the craft to really be able to get my skill back up to where it was when I was in high school.
Right.
So, when you take this many decades off, it's kind of hard to, get back and find your footing.
I mean, you knock the rust off and you keep working on it.
But that's, so that's kind of a limitation for me for being able to go there like they have. I mean, I know that Todd McFarlane, Greg Capullo has done a lot of his heavy lifting over the years. When it comes
Greg
to
Capullo basically defined what Spawn looked like for well over a decade. Todd may have started Spawn. Greg Capullo kind of refined what Spawn looked like. Yeah,
for sure. But that's the thing. Like I'm chances are I'm not going to get this good like what we see here. But but in the meantime, I'm going to be. Luke and I are gonna we're gonna be vibing for as long as he can hang with me. And whatnot, because I mean we work very well together.
Awesome.
My scripting style, and I leave things open enough so that he has room to do what he thinks looks cool in the moment, and I'm not at all rigid with the script. There are certain beats that I want to hit and want to hit them in certain places. So I have a direction, but at the same time, like he definitely has a lot of leeway to try to help develop the scenes better, because he knows this stuff way more way better. I study I'm studying layout, so I definitely want to make it to where at least I can do layouts, so all I got to do is hand them to him and then he can just draw off of that. Once we get our get our footing in these first 3 issues. But yeah, no, it's I want it to be a continual series, and I also want to bring back the concept of, hey, here's a one-off issue. You know, if you jump in, you're not really, you know, you're really not going to miss anything. But you know, but at the same time, you may want to go back and read these other issues. But you know, I want people to be, you know, have a sense of footing when they come in, instead of these days where they'll do a mini series and then they'll do another mini series and it's not anything to do with the other. And it's like, no, I want continuity. You know, this is a living, breathing world that I'm building here.
Yeah, man. So where your characters live, you know, they move, they have lives and things happen, you know. That's awesome, man. And
with that, there's a second title that I want to do is, you know, it's going to be centered around Epsilon City specifically. And then that is going to be like where I'll get to play with short stories. I'll bring in other artists, you know, and we'll get to tell the stories of the other heroes and see what clicks with people, you know, and then we'll see what happens from there. But that's my goal anyway. But
yeah, well, I mean, that's a great start, man, you know. And I like the idea of single standalone issues, because sometimes, you know, you'd be reading Spider-Man, Wolverine, X-Men, Punisher, whatever, and there would just be this one issue where this self-contained story, you know, and not just necessarily talking about the whatchamacallit, the annuals, because annuals are usually like self-contained stories or a couple of self-contained stories, but like a single issue in the regular series that's actually just a self-contained story, you can jump in, enjoy that, and see if you want to try something else, you know. So
exactly.
Yeah, man. Dude, this is cool. This is very cool. I'm glad you got Luke Stone on board doing artwork for you, man. He's great. You got a fun looking book here, man. When are you looking to fulfill?
So I've put fulfillment all the way back to October, but that's only because there's so many variables here. We've got you know, with Soltac #1, first we got to handle. I say we. First, Luke and Craig or Mad Ruth, they have to kind of, you know, tackle getting the Soltac graphic novel fulfilled. You know, get that campaign fulfilled, and then also go to print with the first issue, and then full #1 has to go to print for that issue. Let's see, HeroBot Zero #2 has to be printed. You know, so there's you know, and these are all associated with this campaign. So I can't fulfill this campaign with good conscience unless I have every single thing available to just go ahead and get it done. So I pushed it off to October. I'm hoping, you know, the sooner the better, and we're definitely going to keep people informed and you know, on the process, you know, with updates and everything else. But yeah, that's I'd love to be able to fulfill in like August or even earlier, but yeah. Unfortunately, I've pushed everything back to October.
Well, I mean, there ain't nothing wrong with that, man. You know, you gotta roll with it as best you can. And how much of the book is done currently? How many pages are done of the first issue? Like
so the 10 pages. The 10-page ash can is like done. I mean, obviously lettering, right? So so the ash can's done. But Eric's going to have to, you know, come in and re-letter, you know, the first 10 pages, and then of course take it the next 22 pages. So you know, the script is done for the entire book.
Nice.
So you know, so that's done, and it's just a matter of time. And so once we get the disbursement from this, then this and whatever money I'm earning as we go along on Fund My Comic, we'll go into starting production on this book and getting Luke, getting him to work on it, and then Patrick on it, and then of course Eric, and then
awesome.
You know, before you know it, we'll be done. And
I mean, you got to take care of your team. You know, you got to be able to take care of your team for sure. What's up, American Comics? Good to see you, man. Welcome.
What's up?
Welcome. Mad Ruth says Soltac is at the printers.
Nice.
Which is awesome.
Nice.
And welcome, King of Sanity. He says, I created an entire graphic novel about a detective who can paint wanted posters with his butt cheeks. Wow. I'm sure there's an audience out there for that somewhere, man. I wish you the best of luck with that graphic novel, dude. Yeah. You know, I mean, guarantee you there is an audience out there for it somewhere. Yeah, you know, that sounds like a Rule 34 comic book, but yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. This looks like a lot of fun, man. I hope that everybody jumps on this. If not here, then over at fundmycomic.com. While you're over at FundMyComic, go check out all the other awesome campaigns they got going on over there. Is there anything else you want to say about Chrome Dog before we wrap this up?
Not really. That hasn't already been said outside. Yeah. I mean, Chrome Dog is, this is going to be a hell of a ride. We've got different villains that I'm going to be introducing. I've already spoken to different. Oh my gosh, butt cheek detective. That sounds like
give DC title. Time. They might hire you to do that.
Not me.
Well, I mean, might hire King of Sanity.
But yeah, so with Chrome Dog, I'm going to be introducing a bunch of characters, but at the same time, hopefully I'm not shotgunning them too quickly at you.
Right.
But I can tell you, it's going to be a hell of a ride, and I'm really looking forward to getting this thing up and out. So
awesome, man! I can tell that you're excited about this story, and I can tell you're passionate about telling a good story. And you've hired great people to work with you on this book, man. I mean, from the variant cover from Aaron Lepresti to getting Luke Stone to do the interiors and his colorist working on it, and then Eric Weathers to do the letters. I mean, you got some quality peeps working on this book, man. So it's I think it's going to do well. I think people are going to dig it once they get their hands on it. And thank you, Mad Ruth. Appreciate you dropping that link, man. Go ahead.
If you have just a few more moments.
Yeah, dude. If you got something you want to show, go ahead. Yeah. That's what I mean. If you got something else you want to say about this. Yeah.
So well, it's not just this, right? We've got the Out of Obscurity. I don't know if you've heard about that yet, but it's an anthology that a bunch of us creators. Luke is actually editing the book. Nice. And so a bunch of us creators are coming together to do this book where we are each of our creative teams we're taking a public domain character and then we're going and then we're writing a story and but us as our creative teams we ourselves are coming out of obscurity as well as pulling public domain characters out of obscurity. And I just wanted to show a couple of pages of the one that I'm working on.
Please go ahead and share. That's actually one of the things I usually like to ask, like what's next for you, what's going on in the future. But it sounded like Chrome Dog was the future, but you're also working on this, dude. Yeah, if you got something you want to share, just share your screen and we'll bring it up.
Yeah, here we go. I think I did that right. There we go.
Yep, there it is.
So yeah, this is so one of the so the public domain character I chose was a guy by the name of the Bronze Terror from like 1940s era, and originally he was an Apache Indian and didn't have any powers outside of just being a badass crime fighter and this and that. Yeah, exactly. And so what I've done is I've actually decided that I'm going to make this. I'm going to redesign him, and I'm making him. I'm going to anchor him on Ringgold as a contemporary with Chrome Dog. So they're going to actually eventually interact with each other.
Nice.
And so I've told a 6-page story, and I'm just going to show a couple of pages here just to kind of give folks a taste. But this first panel, it really like. The as much as the technology is supposed to be kind of in the 80s and 90s for Epsilon City,
it's retro future tech.
Some of the sectors have their own designs and their own ways of doing things and this and that. And so this is kind of what's going on with this train. And if you look back here, that's Lux and Proximo back there, and then this is some funky spider that. The artist that I have on this, it's actually the artist and the colorist are a father and son team. It's Kevin McDougall is the artist, and then his son is Elijah McDougall. And this is actually
that's awesome.
If I'm not mistaken, I hope I'm not misspeaking here, but this is his son's first go at doing colors. So and of course these are all grown men, so we're not we're not talking about like a
yeah, he's not a kid. I mean,
yeah.
But hey, we got the Art Jedi hanging out in this scene.
Yeah.
He's 17 and he's doing his book, and then the other dude that's doing Maverick, got a couple of 17-year-olds that are making waves in this scene. So it ain't unheard of, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I've done is I've redesigned this character and I've brought him into my world. I've also given him a name. So instead of just being the Bronze Terror, his name is actually Thunder Horse, the Bronze Terror. And one of the reasons I'm kind of like part of that is, even though in the original comic he was an Apache Indian, the Apache are not known for for using horses, right? They weren't known for being horse wranglers. The Comanche were horse masters, and so what I've done is I've actually diddled a little bit with his backstory. So this version of Jeff Dixon, which is his actual name. So I'm using the name. Jeff Dixon is the character's name, but his father is Comanche and his mother is Apache. You might ask, like, how do you have a Comanche and an Apache in Ringgold when it's
not Earth,
a whole nother planet, and it's 1,000 years far, like, removed from. So long and short, there was a select group of people that left Earth. And they actually traveled via Stargate to this planet, and then demolished. Like, part of the deal was to demolish the Stargate on the other side, and then they just built civilization over again. And so some of those cultural leaders were actually descended. Yeah, hey, they actually descended from the Comanche and the Apache, and so they have like a downline ancestry. So
dig it, man. Yeah,
so fast forward to all that. So
got an actual in-story reason for that. I dig it, dude.
Exactly. And so Jeff Dixon's just minding his own business over here. This is him sitting in a seat. This is a guard that's kind of coming up and whatnot, and then just out of nowhere, somebody takes a katana to the guard's head.
Just lops his head. Damn. It's a hell of an opening to a story. Shit.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, then the next page, we see the head kind of roll, and then some other stuff takes place. And so he has this mask that was handed down to him that actually came from the old world. And when he puts it on, he becomes possessed by the horse totem. And that's how he becomes, Thunder Horse, the Bronze Terror, and he has,
man.
And so he throws these tomahawks, and then he can call them back, kind of like how Thor does Mjolnir,
right?
And so that's just a little bit of what he can do, so
that's cool. I dig the artwork, man. This father-son team is doing great.
Yeah, we're and so I'm just one of we are just one of many who are going to be on this next project that's coming to fund my comic real soon. And so I think T Bunny. Are you familiar with Telepathic Bunny? Maybe.
I mean, I've heard the name before. I'm not super familiar, but yeah.
Yeah, he's got a story. RJ,
nice.
Critical Blast. He's got a story in it. Nick Talker,
nice.
Which you might have seen him around. He's got a story.
Dude, I know Nick. He was my GM or my DM for a while when I was doing the first season of Dice Dames and Dudes. He was the DM. So yeah, he actually ran the Hybrids quick play campaign as well that we did before Luke Stone got sick. So yeah. And so and there's some other creators. There are others. I could go on, but yeah, so it's coming, and I just wanted to show a little, show off a little bit of what me and my creative team are working on with it, so yeah. Hell yeah,
stay
man.
tuned. It's going to be called Out of Obscurity. It's going to be published by Arrow Comics, and we'll be funding on Fund My Comic very soon.
Rock and roll, dude. And I agree with Arta Roy here. It looks really cool, man. I really dig this transformation shot down at the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin, he just and I have to say, man, like, if I had my way, I would have just ran with just black and whites, because Kevin is a master at black and white. But the book pretty much I was encouraged to use color.
Yeah.
And so when he approached me, he says, what do you think of my son doing the colors? I'm like, let me see what he does, And
right.
he's really they're both great to work with, and so
that's fantastic to hear.
I'm just glad to have him on the project. So yeah. It's great.
Yeah, black and white art. You got to have balance. It's got to read properly, and then the colors. I always say this about comics. Comics are a gestalt of all of their different pieces come together to make this amazing whole. You know what I mean? This amazing complete project, and it's kind of alchemy when it works properly.
Yeah.
When it's done correctly, it works just wonderfully, and it's this whole brand new thing that is greater than the sum of its parts. So the colors have to complement the line work, and see, Feline says I like the colors. I agree. I think it complements the line work really well. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun, man. And I'm looking at this bottom panel down here, and that would look like that would be badass on a t-shirt, like that final transformation shot with the fire around him and whatnot. Just like kind of put that like in the center of a black t-shirt. That would be fucking rad, dude. And I mean, obviously, I like t-shirts. I like sport and merch. I think that would be cool, dude. But yeah, this looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, man. So this is another thing that you're working on in conjunction with Chrome Dog.
That's correct. Like, of course, we've done everything that we need to do, and we've turned it in to Luke as the editor, and then he's also going to be doing the letters on these, and so but yeah, it's just to see him, like, he's going to be one of the characters that's going to be featured in my universe too. So like and I don't know how many other creators are doing what I'm doing, just bringing the public domain, because I feel like a lot of the American Indian characters have kind of gotten a bad hand. I've heard
kind of shunted to the side, and
and their character designs have changed. Like Warpath, man, like what happened? Like he was badass, and then I was playing him on a video game on my phone, and they completely changed his design. He no longer had tomahawks. He had these knives, and they gave him a domino mask, and I'm just like, and I'm
now I don't know if you ever read what was it, what was it? X-Force. It was the one where they were all dressed in black. It was Wolverine was leading it. It was basically like the X-Men Black Ops team. So you had Warpath, you had Wolverine, you had Wolfsbane, you had X-23, Psylocke.
Yeah, they were wearing like gray with red eyes and stuff.
Well, black and silver, and then with red eyes. Yeah, and it worked for that particular comic. You know what I mean? But Warpath's costume is classic for a reason, man, and it was an homage to his older brother who died. I mean, exactly. Thunderbird fucking sacrificed his life to save the X-Men.
Well, and I'm pretty sure they've killed off Warpath as well. I think he died on Krakoa, if I'm not mistaken.
They always kill characters off and then bring them back later.
Yeah. That's true, but I felt like it was kind of, as I was reminiscing about that and how Turok seemed to not get his, like Turok the dinosaur hunter didn't seem to get a really good fair shake in his reboot with Valiant, unfortunately. I mean, people can hate on me all you want, but
you mean Acclaim Comics?
I mean, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Probably the worst decision ever, but whatever. But so what I wanted to do is I wanted to create a property that had an American, like a true American Indian, actually like exist and be allowed to just breathe in this new world, and we can actually see like what could happen, like what would happen if you have someone of Native American descent. Who's unconstrained by an oppressive white man. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I'm going to be playing with some political things, but I'm doing it on a human level because that's all I'm about, right? And so you're not gonna hear any kind of like political messaging, but what you're going to see is a story that's like, what makes a man, and what's, man's inhumanity to man, as well as technology, and what does all that have to do with, what makes us who we are. Anyway.
Well, that's one of the 5 basic stories of everything. There are only 5 stories. It's man versus himself, man versus the world, man versus machine, and man versus beast. Those are really the only 5 stories. I mean, you could say man versus God or the universe, but that's essentially man versus the world.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Sure.
I totally see it, and that's the way to play with it. That use all those themes, and tell a good story that actually delves into it. And American Comics says Turok Son of Stone was the first title I used to rock with. 100%. Yeah. Yep. I mean, the artwork was great. Like Valiant had a lot of great artists. It's just they didn't have a lot of. It kind of got oversaturated too quickly because they came out like right after the whole image boom, and they were Bloodshot. They were really pumping that up, and that sold a lot, and then everything else kind of went downhill after that.
Well, their layouts were not dynamic, and that was my thing. Plus, they were readers, man. I mean. You come off the high of Image, and then also a lot of the action that was going on in Marvel Comics, even. For the longest time I wondered, I'm like, why am I not excited about DC? And the more I've pondered it lately, it's because DC is much more dense with their storytelling in the word balloons, where Marvel was always like short, quippy, and very like action. A little bit
lighter sometimes. Yeah. No, I can see what you mean. Yeah. Overly verbose is how I would call
there
DC.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just too many words on a page.
I just couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't rock with it. Like I wanted to, like I wanted to. I love their character designs. Oh my gosh, like DC nails character design like nobody's business. I mean, heck yeah, they win the Pepsi Challenge in my opinion there. But that's why what I'm doing, Agent Zero Studios, as I like to call, my motto is Agent Action Always. So
yes.
And this six pager has nothing but action. So and Chrome
awesome,
Dog
man.
is gonna have a lot of action, but it's also gonna have some slow parts. But I have I mean, I'm pretty confident in my pacing abilities.
Yeah, man.
But
I mean, that's all part of the story.
Just a writer. I'm just a writer. I'm not a novelist. Yeah. I'm not here to put you to sleep with my words.
Nice. Well, I mean, that's again, it's the unique alchemy that is comics. You know what I mean? You've got the combination of the writing and the artwork, and when it comes together, it's just magic. Magic. It is literal alchemy. I'm serious, dude. Yes. I think that would be an awesome image on a T-shirt. And Feline agreed with me. Yeah, that would be a badass image on a T-shirt, dude. Especially you get like nice. You don't necessarily have to have a logo, but you could have like a logo at the bottom for him. So yeah, that's cool stuff, man. B.A. Turner says, "Hey, not all novels are boring." This is true, man. This is true. I love myself some audio.
Oh yeah. I'm not. I forgot he was here. I got nothing love for you, badass. Brian is his name, but yeah.
Nice.
But yeah. So I wanted to just kind of tease this one too. Like I just can't resist.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
This is gonna be fun.
They knock him down and he's getting out. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
But yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
I better quit while I'm ahead.
Yeah, don't go spoiling everything.
I don't want to spoil too much, right?
You guys got just a little taste, and so go ahead and make sure you're following him on Twitter, so that you can keep tabs on what he's doing. Link is in the description for Chrome Dog as well. So go check out those links. Justin, thanks for coming to hang out, man. I appreciate it. This was a lot of fun.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
And chat, you guys rock.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Remember, chat, always
shop smart, shop S-Mart.